the things I like about building locos, or one of the benefits, is you're sort of forced to learn something about the loco you're actually building. And I've dug a photo out. It's from OS Knox Volume 2 British Locomotives. It's a good photo. Looks like it's just been out shopped, and it's painted in that grey they used to for photograph. But here's the thing. It says one of the K1 class standard 260s of ex LNER design, ordered from the North British Locomotive Company in 1949. I know they built 70 after nationalisation in BR style of painting. So I think I've been under a false premise. I don't think these are NLER engines at all, are they? Perhaps somebody could help me out with this. I don't know if any were actually built by the NLER or painted in NLER colours, or whether they're just all in, they were just BR engines. There's nothing about it in the text, but I'll tell you something. Here's a funny thing. In reading it, I've always thought the peppercorn A1s, you know, were the epitome of the British passenger locomotive, never beaten. But Knock, he didn't like them at all. Listen to this. But although certain of their admirers among LNER locomotive men considered that the A1s in particular were the finest express passenger engines that ever ran the road in Great Britain, it's a matter of history they did not quite make it, and never superseded the great Grizzly A4s on the most arduous duties of post-war years. He then goes on to moan and outline what he considers to be all their design deficiencies. And he says, furthermore, as scheduled speeds were spartaned up towards pre-war, if not necessarily streamlined standard, it was found that many of the Peppercorn Pacifics were addicted to bad riding. Some of those I rode travelled to a continuous yawing action that became progressively uncomfortable at low as speed rose, while others hunted violently at times. Oh, doesn't sound very good. They had a bogie inherited from Thompson days. It was satisfactory on the small 460 locomotive, but had inadequate side control for the huge engine like a Peppercorn Pacific. And then there's more moaning, and he rounds it off with this. The only time I've been really scared on the footplate of a steam locomotive was on one of these engines working a Birmingham Glasgow Express over the Caledonian line between Carlisle and Beatec. Blimey, isn't Tornado one of these engines? Or an A1? I don't know. Sounds a bit iffy to me. Right. Chassis on hold. So I'll see if I can form the footplate, which should cause amusement to anybody watching, because it's probably going to go wrong. Wife's gone out. She's off work. Hillary's off work today, and put the washing machine and the dishwasher on, so I've switched them off. So I'm going to get shot, but never mind. Parts removed from the fret. We've got the valances. That's, believe it or not, it's a smoke box saddle, not formed yet. Got the cab one-piece edge, excellent. And I've just fitted the cab beading, window beading, and the cab back beading, whatever you call it there. These are frame extensions, and I've pre-fitted the little grab rail things and pressed out the rivets. The foot, or whatever, running plate or foot plate, whatever you call it, there was a few rivets to punch out. You won't be able to see them. I just use that punch and press it out on the wood. So that's quite straightforward. What do we need? Now we've got a step under the cab, and we've got a step at the front, basically, and the step under the cab is curved. Now, on this etch, it's quite nice to see, there's a series of lines to help you form the curve. But we're going to need the cab, I think, to make sure we get it right. So I'm just going to bend up the cab. I'll fit the handrails to this before I actually fit it onto the footplate. Nice and easy to bend up, nice half X lines. Don't need to worry too much about how square it is at the moment. That's going to help that form. So well, I don't know if you can see this, but if you look at the balance, they should match. Yeah, that's pretty good. So I'll put the radio on if all this gets too tedious. I will start to see if we can form this. So I'm going to use, to form it, I'm going to use the shaft of this file. So I'm going to try to do the whole loco with no special tools at all. So the first thing I think to do is to make sure we're bending it the right way. Yep. So I'm going to do a 90-degree bend there. And that 90-degree bend I'm just going to firm up with a bit of solder, seam of solder in there. It's going to be a day when the solder doesn't want to run upset, but that's it. Always nervy, racking and all this job. Right, we've got that at 90 degrees. I'll make sure I've got it the right way round, I think I have. I'm going to try and form this, so where was that file here? It shouldn't be too difficult. Bend that like that. You see that? Check it on the cab. Cabs, what do you call it, tabs, if that fits. No, it doesn't. So that's got to be up like that. So that's getting there. That's got a bit sharper. Shall I put the radio on before everybody gets too bored whilst I do this? Okay, that's okay on that side, you can see that. I've got to do the other side, so the mistake I made first time, we'll try and not repeat. No, I have repeated it. So you could, if you want to, I suppose you could kneel it, but it's not really worth it. I'll put the radio on because I think everybody's going to get bored. Right.
Doom includes a rolling stones. I lived in studios where Star Wars was made. Funniest thing ever was seeing a couple of stormtroopers walking over to the pub. Famous Force be with you, Claudia. That's from Jules. My friends and I would use unfinished rolls of wallpaper as lightsabers. You had to roll them quite tightly, and the winner.
Yeah, I think that's got it.
Break in half. Once it broke, you had to put it in the communal bin so your mum or dad didn't see that you destroyed it.
Turn the radio off there. Right, valances. Again, I cut these out with scissors. I've cleaned up one face, which is the face we're going to need. I'm going to clean the other thing up, the other face up, when we're done. So there's a little half-etched groove, and that looks like in which it should fit. I suppose you could use these for forming the curve, but I've failed to clean it up properly. So I'll clean up the wrong bit. So I've just got to clean up a few nibs on this. Oh yeah, I've done the wrong side. what I normally do for once I've got things soldered together is cleaning up. I'll go down to the pub and have a paint and do it. I'll take a bit of sandpaper and a file and have a paint and sit there and do it. And funnily enough, I find that, you know, whilst I'm normally, if I go in and say I'm interested in model railways, sort of a subject of derision, if you go in with a half shiny bit of brass and a half built model, you get a certain amount of interest and respect. I'm going to try and tack this. For some reason I'm having a job today with the solder. I've ordered a couple of new bits for this iron. Just about had it. I'll just get a tack on there. Right, I'm going to move this to the wood. I think the glass is, because we're on a footplate, we're just taking too much heat. Now, I'm just going to move along, tacking the valance in place with great big lumps of solder, just to hold it, working along the line. Need to square that up, I think. It's only tacked, so that's better. Working along the line. Not getting enough heat into this. I had a 50-watt iron which was expensive. It had a temperature control thing on it and it packed up on me, and I miss it because it's not really got enough guts, this thing, which is 25 watts. Come on, goodness me. One second. Right. Oh, now we've got to do the... I'll just put some... Make sure we're in that curve nicely. I'll just got to tack the bit there. Actually, that's probably well. I think that now it's all tacked, I can just run it and hold it off anything that's taking heat out of the job. You should just be able to run that now. Yeah, that's better. The good thing about that's come up, good thing about solder, of course, is you can have endless goes. If you make mistakes, it doesn't really matter. That's that side. This is quite obvious, it just folds up, but I think this is just going to get so boring to watch that I'll probably finish it and come back later.